Hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to start a new series on this channel called 10-minute trades, where basically I pick a ticker and I'll take requests from the audience going forward, and I basically in 10 minutes will show you how I do technical analysis and how you can select price targets for either your swing trades or your buy and hold positions, or if you're like me, for your options trades. So for this episode, I wanted to start with my best friend, and that is AMD. So taking a look at the TradingView chart here, I have the daily chart up. So each candle here represents 1 day's worth of trading. I have the RSI here at the bottom, and I also have the pink line here, which represents the 50-day moving average, and the orange line here represents the 21-day moving average. Now, the first thing I look at when I look at this sticker is, okay, where are the support and resistance levels? So the first line that I noticed here was the top. So right around about $87 and some change. Now keep in mind, these support and resistance levels are not 100% accurate, right? These are more areas and not necessarily, okay, exactly $87.73 is this resistance level. No, that's not how it works. These are just areas, so you get a general sense of where resistance or support may be. So when I draw this line, I looked at the top of this candle here, the top of the candle here, these wicks, and then the top of the candle here. Now you could say, well, you could move this thing up to the top of this wick here and make it about $88, and you're right. And that's why I say this is an area, because you can fudge it $1 or $2 up or down. So roughly $87, I think, is going to be an area of resistance. But even before that, there's another area of resistance further below, down around $83 and some change, maybe $84, because you have the top of this wick here, and you have the bottoms of these candles here, here, kind of the top of this candle here, the bottom of this wick right here. So I think somewhere around $84 is another area of resistance. Now again, you could move this thing down a little bit to the top of this candle, make it around 83 and some cents, right? Because there's a top of this candle here, the wick here, top of this candle and wick here. So again, somewhere around low 83s, low to mid 83s, I would say, is another area of resistance. Now, where is support? So I believe support right now is about $75 and some change, because it's the bottom of this wick right here, and also the bottom of this wick, and just about touching the bottom of the candle right there. So again, you could argue this wick is maybe a little bit higher up here at 76, but somewhere around 75, 76, let's just say mid 70s, is going to be an area of support based on this technical analysis. And just keep in mind that no technical analysis is 100% accurate, but that's where I'm identifying an area of support. And I say that because right now we closed the market at $76.34. So what's really important to note is when the market opens tomorrow, is this area of support going to hold up? Meaning, is AMD going to bounce up above 75? Or is it going to break below the area of support? Because once the stock breaks below support, it now becomes an area of resistance. So if it does break down below, I've identified this gap here. You can see there's a gap between the wick of this candle and the wick of this candle where no prices were found. See, there's no candle or wick in this area. So if we do break below this $75 support, then I would suspect AMD is now going to want to fill this gap. So I'm going to assume then that if we trade below 75 on Monday and we're able to confirm that, the next stop on AMD's destination is going to be somewhere between 71 and let's say $74. So it's going to continue the downtrend if we break the support level. Now, if we bounce above it, then that's good, because that means that 75 is a relatively strong support level. And then hopefully we'll keep rising until we hit this resistance in the low 80s. And again, we're going to need a little bit extra oomph to break past above this resistance level. And if we do, 87 is the new resistance level. But we'll have to wait and see what the coming trading days do. And then also, again, we'll keep an eye on this, because if we break back down past this gap, well, there's another gap down here around the low 60s, from 63 to roughly 61, 62. So that would be the next stop down if we're just able to crash this coming week. So I use this in terms of determining whether I want to sell covered calls and at what strikes, or where I want to sell my cash secured puts and again at what strikes. or if you want to swing trade this ticker, this is how I use some technical analysis to determine where I may want to set my strike values or what my price targets are going to be. Now, if we keep looking into this, I drew this trend line here because we were in an upward trend on AMD up until roughly the past 2 trading days. As you can see, this last candle from the last trading day on Friday, we broke below this trend line, which is again not a good sign. That's a bearish sign. So now if on the next trading day, this coming Monday, if we confirm another candle below this trend line, well then that tells me that we are in a bearish trend on AMD, meaning it looks like AMD is going to keep dipping. Now, the other thing that's a little bit bearish is that, as you can see, for the past few trading days, AMD has been trading below the 21-day moving average. However, it's been trading above the 50-day moving average. So this will also act as an area of support at some point. So if you can imagine extending this line out to somewhere around here come this trading week, so if 74, 75 is where the 50-day moving average is going to be, then again, that might match up right perfectly with this horizontal line of support, and that's going to be a big battleground for the bears and the bulls, because if the bulls are able to hold support at this trend line and the 50-day moving average, then maybe then we'll see this bounce back up on AMD. However, if 75 falls, then we've broken potentially below the 50-day moving average and also the support line, and I think if that happens, if we dip below 75, we are definitely going to fill this gap. At least that's my hypothesis. And then the hope is that we don't go all the way back down to 60 in the coming trading days. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, again, this technical analysis trend line is not always 100% accurate, right? Because I could adjust this line to here and make it a little bit more flat. I could also adjust it to up here, make it a little bit more acute. You can play with this. Obviously, nothing is written in stone. This is just the trend line that I have drawn, and we'll see what happens. And the other thing you can do is draw Fibonacci lines. So I drew a Fibonacci trend from the bottom of this wick here, which was its recent low back in June 29th when AMD was trading at about $48 and some change. And I extended it all the way up to the recent high, which was on September 2nd when it traded for about $94 and some change. So as we can see, right now, if I hide some of these trend lines just to make it a little bit less messy here, this 38.2% Fibonacci level, we closed below that on the last trading day. So again, we're going to have to see if we trade below this Fibonacci level the next trading day, which is tomorrow, Monday, or if we bounce above it. So I truly believe that 75, 76 is a really big battleground right now for the bulls and the bears to determine where they want AMD to go. And I sincerely think that if we break below 75 tomorrow, it's going to be lookout below, because I don't think it's going to be a while until we see high 70s, 80s, or even 90s again. Now, that's just something to keep in mind, because if you're like me and you currently own shares of AMD and you're bag holding a little bit, well, in my mind, if we break below 75, then I can be a little bit more aggressive in terms of where I sell my covered calls, because I have a cost basis of $85 per share right now on AMD. But if my hypothesis is correct, and let's say Monday we gap down and we open below 74, let's say, then I know that I don't have to sell my covered calls at 85, because I think it's highly unlikely that in 1 week, for example, if you want to trade weekly options, that AMD is going to blast above this Fibonacci level, above this resistance, and come very close to this resistance, right? Unless we have some very good news that comes out that just stimulates the whole market, such as a stimulus bill getting passed. So I can be a little bit more aggressive and maybe sell covered calls at, let's say, $80 a strike and collect more premium and more return on my capital. So that's how I approach trading in terms of how to set my strike prices, or if you just want to swing trade, right? Buy low, sell high. So if you think we are going to gap down, meaning if we close Monday, let's say, below 75, then I would not want to buy stock, because I would suspect that AMD is going to continue going down. So if you really want to go long on AMD at some point, or even swing trade it, you can probably get a better price if you believe my technical analysis and you just have a little bit of patience. But that's how I approach trading. You know, different people use different metrics. You can use VWAP, which I may cover in another video. You can look at the RSI, the MACD. Personally, I've really found that using the trend lines, using Fibonacci levels, and using the 21 and 50-day moving averages have helped me. Let me know in the YouTube comments section below what technical analysis indicators you like to use and what's worked for you. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and happy trading.